Sound the alarms, folks. We have an early sleeper alert. We are doing the Mike Washington Jr. rookie profile, the running back out of Arkansas. John, it's really important for us as we go through this rookie profile process, right? We're not just trying to cherry pick the same, consensus top 2-3 guys at every position that everybody else is doing, right? We're always looking to give our viewers and our listeners an edge. And with the running back out of Arkansas here, we think we might have one as you're looking at the second round of your rookie drafts. So, John, let's get right into him. A bit of an underrated prospect, but definitely somebody you're going to want to know about.
It has been 2 decades since the Razorbacks trotted out a backfield with Darren McFadden and Felix Jones from 2005 to 2007. Matt, I'm feeling really old when I'm watching Arkansas tape and breaking down Mike Washington. I can't believe it's been that long. And both McFadden and Jones rushed for over 2,900 career yards, and they were selected in the first round of the 2008 NFL Draft. We've had some players from Arkansas since then, like Alex Collins, but we really haven't had someone like Mike Washington, who really emerged this year as a member of the Razorbacks. He pounded away 167 times for 1,070 rushing yards and 8 touchdowns. More impressively, in my mind, he had 28 catches for 226 yards and a score. He established career bests in carries, yards, and average yards per carry at 6.4. Why I want to put this even into more context for our viewers. Washington moved up to the SEC this year, and he really played very well for Arkansas. Before that, he had spent time at Buffalo and New Mexico State, not the highest level of competition. Both are at the G5 level. So moving up to the SEC and playing that well is really impressive. As an Aggie in 2024, he carried the ball 157 times for 725 yards and 8 scores, Matt. But he was in a timeshare when he was at New Mexico State. So those numbers have to really be understood that he wasn't getting the 250 carries because of the way the offense was structured. He did play at Buffalo for 3 seasons from 2021 to 2023. Now, he didn't get as many carries there. For the Bulls, he only rushed for 1,119 yards, and he scored 8 times in those 3 campaigns. But what is impressive, and we're going to talk about it more in detail later, he had 73 receptions for 470 yards and a touchdown during his career. And in high school, he was a 3-star recruit from Cicero, New York, and he played on both sides of the ball before enrolling at Buffalo. Matt, I know I'm looking forward to watching this film of Washington. What are our viewers going to notice?
Yeah, all right. Let's get it on here, John. Our all 22 cut up when it comes to Mike Washington. And I think the big thing you're going to see, right? Really effective one cut runner. And for folks who this might be your first rookie profile, this is not a highlight reel. Look at the way he hits the gap there. He's very instinctive. He sees space and he takes space. That's something that translates regardless of the level you're playing at, John, right?
Absolutely.
And again, we're trying to give a full view of a player. So these are all of his relevant touches. We're going to start with Texas A&M and we're going to go to Tennessee tonight. It's not just a highlight reel. And I think one thing that's helpful, John, when you don't just watch a highlight reel on a player, you kind of see how tough the offense is, right? He was creating a lot of his own space, and I love to see that from a running back. Yeah, look at that. A great example there, right? Like that gap didn't exist. He made that gap open up.
I think he has great vision, Matt, and I love how he employs the vision. Then he makes that one cut very decisively. There was a nice reception there.
Yeah, a couple examples here of good pass catching. You talked about the numbers there. We're going to get into it, but what I was impressed with watching Mike Washington catch the ball is he came back to it a lot. He had good ball tracking, and hopefully we won't talk about Taylor Green in the rookie profile series because it's a tough watch when it comes to pass catching. But you could even see that one, right? That's a pass off target. He's able to make a play on the screen here. It's kind of a floater ball. He's this is a good example here. He gets blown up. It's a dead play. It's a 5-yard loss. He scraps back and gets a yard out of it. You know what I mean? That matters from an NFL scouting
I
perspective.
like that vision and cut.
Yeah. The Tennessee game, man, I hate to say it because I'm a Vols fan. I think his Tennessee tape is his best film.
I agree.
That was the game, pre-Senior Bowl. That's what really said, this is a guy that I'm going to be paying attention to in Mobile. And he did well for himself there. Look at that. Look at that patience, man. We're coming off the Super Bowl, right? This is our first episode post-Super Bowl. And we talked about Kenneth Walker's patience over and over again that night. There's a little bit of that here with Mike Washington.
Yeah, he's just not as dramatic with the leg cuts and the elusiveness, but the one cut ability is there. Look at that. He's very good at lateral jumping outside laterally.
Yeah. And, we're going to talk about limitations, right? Because that's the realistic outlook we're going to give. You'll see here, he's breaking off nice 15, 20-yard plays. He doesn't have breakaway speed, right?
No.
He's going to get run down. And I think that's the limitation as we're looking at the positives and getting excited about his tape, right? It's just about understanding that player in the context of who they are and where they might fit into an NFL scheme.
And what I thought about was impressive in this game, because I watched this one also. Tennessee had a very good front four.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
They hurt people.
Yeah.
And I do not think Arkansas has a great offensive line. So a lot of what Mike Washington is doing here is very impressive against there's a couple NFL players on that Tennessee front four.
Exactly. And they're getting pressure, right? They're getting into the backfield. And I love when my running backs don't panic, right? They understand when to put their head down, get a yard or two. A great example right here, right?
Oh, that's a nice.
That would have been a 5-yard loss for some players. He gets 15, 10, 12, 15 yards out of it. We're going to finish up here with a nice reception. There's a lot to like when it comes to Mike Washington's film. And you understand why you get excited about him as this potential sleeper. He runs with power, that low center of gravity. We saw that, right? He doesn't get knocked off his path. And I think that's something that's very important. You saw, John, he finishes forward. He finishes with momentum. He will run through defenders. And I love his ability to attack that point of contact, right? Now, we mentioned it. He's not the fastest guy, but I think he speeds up well, and he can flip a gear through the second level of the field. And the hands, right? Good enough. The hands are good enough. The weaknesses, the limitations of his game are going to be his limited quickness, limited agility, doesn't have that breakaway speed. All right, so let's put it together here. What's the path to production? Because that's what's important for us, right? Like, how do we see him best fitting into an NFL offense? Well, I think he fits best in a gap-based running attack. But what's nice about the 3 different schemes he played in is he was successful both in gap and zone schemes. So I don't think he's scheme exclusive, which can help draft capital, right? That's going to give him the best chance to go late day 2. I think he comes with the most fantasy upside if he lands in a goal line potential situation, because when it comes to projecting volume, I do think one thing we need to consider with Mike Washington Jr., he's going to really benefit from a third down complement, really low pass blocking grade. And you'll see, I didn't even put a ton of pass blocking on there. They didn't leave him in a lot after early season, I think, because there just wasn't that level of trust. And I don't even know his name, but 10 on their offense was the guy. He usually stayed in for pass blocking reps. Yes. I noticed that as I was cutting up this game. So for me, that might just limit, is he a 250 touch guy? Probably not, even if he is the lead back in his offense. So probably a guy who starts with 150 to 175 targets, but certainly somebody that I'm excited about. And I think the most important takeaway, John, is that you don't have to shove him into one particular scheme. So that's the film review on it. We always like to balance it out with your key stats, the analytics, the insight. When you're looking at your benchmarks, John, how does the Arkansas running back line up?
He ends up very nice and better than I thought he would. And I had liked this film. I specifically watched live the game against Memphis when it was occurring and that Tennessee game. So I was impressed with the young man when I sat down in December to start breaking him down before the Senior Bowl. Then I plugged him into my model. He's 6 foot, 228 pounds, Matt. And that comes out as a very nice BMI of 30.9. He clears the benchmark. And no matter what, NFL coaches and NFL offensive coordinators, They covet big running backs late in games, and they do kind of want that pounder running back. And Mike Washington has that ability. We saw it on tape there. He's good between the tackles. You mentioned it. He gets his yard or two instead of losing 3. He just puts his head down. Then he clears the receptions. I don't think he's an amazing receiver, but I think he's an efficient receiver, gets the ball in his hands, and he turns upfield pretty quickly. So I like that. And for a big man, he had 30 runs over 10-plus yards by PFF, Matt. So those are the 3 benchmark that he clears for me. What he doesn't clear, yards per carry, only 5.0. But I think that's a lot playing at Buffalo, New Mexico State. And like I mentioned, they don't have a great offensive line at Arkansas. So it's a miss, but it's not as bad as I would expect. Scrimmage yards, I would like to have seen him have more opportunities. He's never carried the ball over 200 times in the season, but I think he has the frame and the body to do it, Matt, if he was asked to. And then his scrimmage yards dominator. I'm looking for a higher number. He's at 24%, which isn't awful, but it's not hitting the benchmark. So 3 out of 6 benchmarks in this draft class, and I like the film, is very, very eye-opening. Matt, what's your analysis say on the film take?
All right, let's put it all together here, John, right? Because that's the point of this whole process, is to give a realistic fantasy projection, give you some actionable advice. Before I do that, I need to ask folks, if you're watching this video on YouTube and this has helped you learn even one new thing about this draft class, take literally 1 second, move your cursor down, give us a like. It really helps us. And even better, drop us a comment. Folks, let's have a discussion. Let's talk about Mike Washington Jr. When are you taking him? What's the level of exposure you're looking for? It's really helpful for us. We love to have it. We love to have that conversation. In terms of NFL draft capital here, this is where I think a little bit of a weaker class is going to help Mike Washington Jr. I think he's got a shot, John. Day 2 late. Right now, I think he's round 3, round 4. I feel very confident saying that.
Agree.
I think he's going to be right on the border. But at this point in time, I'm leaning more in the day 2 category, and that's why we're pushing him out here early as a sleeper. Because I think right now, if you were to look at rookie drafts, he'd be like a 3rd round pick. But I'm projecting ADP forward, right? We're reading how things are going to go. We've done this a few times, John. We know guys who rise, right? Mike Washington Jr. is going to rise, and I have him with an ADP projection in rookie drafts in super flex formats of 205 to 208. That's a mid-second round pick. In a 1 QB format, let's bump him up to 201, 204, right? Because I think there's probably 1 or 2 quarterbacks that you would slide back, right? In a 1 quarterback format. So early to mid-second round pick. In terms of projection and output, if he lands with this day 2 draft capital, I'm going to expect that he at least has a lead contributor role in a committee for an NFL team. I think it's running back 30 to running back 36. The fantasy football production comparison I'm going to make, it's not play style, is Kyle Monangai. And the reason that I pulled Kyle Monangai, he finished as running back 31, I believe, this year. And he was playing, right? He was splitting carries with David Montgomery. And so it's important to keep in mind, folks, it's a weak running back class. You're telling me this guy has to be in a committee. Folks, most running backs are in committees, right? You can absolutely be a startable fantasy football running back, your RB2 slot, your flex spot, and be in a committee, be a rotational guy. The way Monangai really excelled when he had those touchdowns, right? I talked about that for scheme fit with Mike Washington Jr. I think that makes a lot of sense. Now, this projection confidence, I added that this year. I think there's some risk here. I don't think it's a home run. I talked about the pass blocking. We talked about John's benchmarks, right? He's kind of in the middle. He doesn't come with the most upside. I think he's got low to medium upside, but I think that's the right value point here. If you're getting him in that mid-second round, I'm going to have some pretty good exposure to him. When I put the recommended exposure, folks, that's what I'm actually using for my rosters. 26 to 40%, mid-second round. I need a running back. Mike Washington Jr., he's going to be a priority. But John, I'll tell you what's a priority for me. If I was watching this video, it'd be a priority to go to the link in the episode description and join us over at patreon.com/rookiebigboard. Because if you feel like this is an in-depth breakdown, we are scratching the surface in terms of the resources we have. Full-on rookie rankings, over 75 players already scouted for this process, 199 rookies on the Rookie Big Board as of today. Those rankings are directly comparable to our Dynasty and Devy rankings as well. Personalized access in the Discord. You can do a one-on-one draft call with me, roster consultation. Folks, there's no better way to get ahead of your league mates. And if you're watching this video, you watch the whole thing, now's the time. Now is the time. Don't wait until April, right, and play catch-up. You are already ahead of the game. Double down. Head on over to patreon.com and join us. John, we're going to be back real soon with another Rookie Profile.